Scrolling on TikTok and I saw this video of this woman describing the mother-daughter relationship, and while it was a clip, I thought it would be interesting for me to watch the video in its entirety and get my reaction and thoughts on it. So that's what this video is going to be. So I'm gonna pull the video up and then we can get started.
Welcome to this segment of Ask Alexis. We're going to talk about a really touchy and really serious topic today. And I've wanted to get into this for a while, and I've been hearing a lot of women, especially black women, and I haven't talked to a lot of women of other races yet about this issue, but I'm sure they have this problem too. But I know personally about the dramatic, the abusive, and the devastating impact that this kind of shit has on black women. And I'm talking about dirty ass, low down, old ass black women that attack they little girls and attack they dog.
I'm not laughing at what she's saying. I'm laughing at the clown music in the background. What is that?
And their nieces and attack other young women that's just in the damn neighborhood. These some rotten old ass bitches, they need to be damn stopped. And we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna really deal with that deep, because it's a lot of women that do not, black women, do not get along with their mothers. And they love their mothers. They live and die for their mothers. They go all out of their way trying to prove that they're good enough, they're smart enough, they're wise enough, they're strong enough. They go and get degrees because their mama always says that you were going to be a dumb, stupid whore when you grew up. They go out trying to find a man with money because the mama always told her she was stupid and she wasn't going to never find a man that could amount to anything.
Get the name.
Yeah, get the name. You know, She being ran down in the ground because she got pregnant as a teenager. But you set her up to get pregnant as a damn teenager because your motherfucking ass didn't want her to begin with. And if you did want her, you acted like you didn't, because from the time she was a little girl, you've been telling her she wasn't nothing but a hot, fast-ass little damn split tail. Now, see, I don't know if y'all from the South, if you know that phrase, split tail, you know, because we women, we got a split in between our legs. We don't have a there's a slit that we got. And I have seen women that are in families, that are in a group, because we got a lot of gossiping and backbiting. Girl, this is gonna be a damn series, because we got so many black women that are full of poison, don't like they damn self. They don't like a light-skinned bitch. They don't like a black bitch. They don't like a nappy head bitch. They don't like a straight head bitch. They don't like a wavy hair bitch. She thinks she damn cute. She trying to my man. She live in this house. She drive that car. She went to this school. She doing this show. She writing this book. Let me see what I can do to tear her down. See, we got all this defoulness, all this toxic waste, and it's poison that is in the womb of the black woman. And it's really time that we address.
Not only does she have rather colorful language, she has great description, great descriptor words.
These issues, and we stop this shit. That if we can't stop other women from doing it, we gotta stop doing this shit to each other, and we gotta stop doing this to these little girls, because we got these old ass women with their motherfucking teeth done damn fell out and their fucking titties done fell to their damn navel
Or shriveled up.
their ass pussy so goddamn wore out and run, it done fell to their damn ankles. You know, asshole done dropped out the bottom, because when they was young, they done let everybody stick all kind of damn Donkey Kong all up in them, all kind of ways, and fuck when they done for nothing and suck folk husband and the preacher and goddamn 3 and 4 damn children, and they husband think them children healed, and maybe one might be damn healed. They done did all that kind of damn shit and out of both damn draw legs. Then they have a little girl, and she's a hoe. Why? Because you's a motherfucking hoe. So these little girls don't know no better. And there's a lot of women that give birth to little girls and get upset and disappointed because they had a little girl. Because you really thought it was safer and it would be easier on your reputation if you had a little boy, because little girls are hot, grown, and fast, and they give up and they get pregnant and embarrass your family name. And the little girls a lot of times don't even do this kind of shit, camera girl. A lot of these girls...
Wait, that's a good point. With men, if a man were to get somebody pregnant, it's considered carrying on the lineage or legacy building. But when women get pregnant, it's get pregnant out of wedlock. It's shameful and it's shamed.
Ain't even like that, but I guess y'all feel about your own damn self. Well, the apple don't fall too far from the tree, so you know you's a hoe. So you think just because you gave birth to this little girl, she got to damn imitate you, and it's not always the case. And the reason why I'm doing this show is because it's a lot of women, a lot of black women, walking around here looking down on themselves because they mamas done told them that they wouldn't shit all they damn life, so they go out trying to prove something to her, or they go out trying to compensate for their low self-esteem by trying to meet friends, and they let their girlfriends use them, and they become doormats, or they become bullies like their own mamas and do the shit to other people what their mamas did to them, or they get in relationships with men trying to get some type of validation and self-respect from these damn men. And that's why many of us have got to realize what is really the root of the pain here. Because a lot of us are carrying our mother's trauma and pain and her poison and her...
That's called multi-generational transmission process in Bowennian family therapy, and also something else that I can't remember at this moment.
Venomous words and her... Girl, it's some women that actually beat their daughter's ass. And the little girl didn't even deserve it just because who you think you are. You know, and we'll find...
So during my graduate program, during my group supervision, I had asked my professor, I know that when it comes to intimate partner violence, we're not supposed to see them with the understanding that they could be continuing to engage in violence continuously, and it can be dangerous. So I asked my professor, well, what if we're seeing a mother and a daughter and they are actively engaging in violence against each other? Would we still continue to see them? And their response was, at first they were confused because they were like, that's happening, that mothers and daughters are actively fighting each other. And one of my peers, she co-signed what I was saying in terms of that it is happening and what should we do. So long story short, my professor was just like, treat it the same as you would with intimate partner violence and assess for future risk of continued violence, and then have a conversation in regards to next steps. But what really stood out to me about that was that the professor wasn't aware that this is happening, that mothers in some households are actively beating up their daughters. And I said it, I put it as like intimate partner violence in a way to show like some level of mutuality, but in a way it's not really mutual if the mother is in a position of power and the daughter is merely defending themselves. But how it's portrayed in a lot of households, especially in the Black culture, is you got into a fight with your mother rather than you were defending yourself against your mother.
But this is such a deep topic to me. This shit is so sick to me, and it's just so heavy on my heart because I grew up being a victim of a lot of this shit. And I see women going through this shit every day. Young girls being brutalized and beat up by their own girl. Do you know it's some women that even murder their own daughters out of jealousy and do everything they can to go out in public and spew all kinds of nasty words about their daughter to sabotage their daughters because they can't deal with the fact that they feel like a mother loser, a coward, and a failure. They feel like they ain't nothing. Girl, ain't no mother woman in her right mind is going to try to destroy, dehumanize, humiliate, and degrade a womb gender, a female that come out of her womb unless she up herself. You ain't gonna tell me you in love with yourself. I don't care how pretty you are. I don't care how fine you are. I don't care where you live at. I don't care how many degrees you got. I don't care how many nice cars you got and who you know. You are a really low representation of a female if you can give birth to your daughter and humiliate her, put her down, and tell her that she ain't shit. And you treat her like she's a piece of trash on the street, and you do everything you can to destroy her. You, woman, are totally out of order and sick and defiled. You are not walking in your divine principles of spiritual sexuality and power, because if you were and you were truly manifesting the principles of God, you would not defile and demean another image and likeness of God, which is another female that came out of your womb. Oh, you know, these women need to get their shit together. These mothers need to wake the up because they blind and they damn sleep, and they putting these girls to sleep with the shit they do. I'll be back with more of Ask Alexis.
So that was part 1. I'm going to have to do a lot of editing in this video because I didn't know she cursed this much. But that was a lot. I might have to rewatch it again. The cursing can be kind of distracting for me to process. A little distracting. But what she was saying was valid in terms of mothers inflicting harm on their daughters and then passing on trauma to their daughters as a result of their own insecurities. And you could tell that as she was talking about her own experience, she became visibly upset. From my perspective, it looked like she was remembering everything that she's been through. And I don't know what she's been through. I don't even know who this is. But yeah, the fact that even thinking about what she's experienced invokes that much anger is very telling. So we're going to go to part 2 now. Whew, hold on. Let me take a breather. Like I said, she has very colorful language. Like very great descriptors. Very good vocabulary, like SAT vocabulary.
We're back with more of Ask Alexis, part 2, dealing with mama-daughter drama. You know, camera girl, it's some women, and I saw this growing up, that will actually sit on their porch or look outside their door and look at young girls and compare themselves to young girls. Then she'll get angry at a young girl because that little girl is developing. She started to get a nice round butt, nice shapely big legs, nice fully developed perky breasts that sit up. Because see, this is what, well, I'll get to that in a minute. Not only do women just watch other people's daughters walking up and down the street, coming from school, playing ball. Girl, it ain't nothing like an envious.
I'm trying to listen, but that music is really distracting me. And the song that they're playing was in the Little Rascals. Yeah.
Jealous spirit from a woman, because a woman is vicious. It can be real deadly when women get envious and jealous, when they start coveting another woman's pussy, titties, and ass. Yes, I said it. And face and hair. You got a lot of older women looking at these little girls and they're coveting something that don't belong to them. They want some shit that they can't have. They want to actually go back and wish they could be 13 again, and wish they could be 20 again, but Father Time done kicked off in their ass so damn bad that they can't reverse that damn shit, and they have to deal with the cards they was dealt, even if they dealt their own. You know, some people deal themselves a bad damn hand and want to blame God and the church and want to blame society for a lot of shit we do to our damn self. So not only you got them women looking at little girls, setting them up, because girls some vicious old ass women. They will set up and put smear campaigns out on little girls. Say that little girl gonna be a little whore when she grow up. That one gonna be a stripper when she grow up. Hell, that one's sucking right now. And the little girl may not be doing that. But do you know you can speak some shit on a little girl? And
That's a really good point. So in the workbook, there's a section where it encourages the writer to explore what your mother taught you. So the question is, what did you learn from your mother? And there's different various sections, so about love, about money, about appearance, about weight. And why this is important, because sometimes people hold ideologies and beliefs that are merely the projections of other people, so much so that you take it on as truth or your own truth, that you start to believe that as your truth. And she brings up a great point about how the hypothetical mother was projecting that the daughter was a whore or a slut or whatever, so much so that the daughter then became that, simply because the mother projected onto the child that that's who you are, that's what you do. When in reality, the person didn't have an opportunity to develop their own sense of self, an own sense of understanding in terms of the various components of life, like about money, about love, about things like that. And their ideas related to those topics were greatly impacted by their mother's voice and their mother's projections onto them.
Make the shit come true. Even if I've seen women say their little babies was 2 years old and she was gonna be a slut. You might have seen that, but do you have to speak that on that little girl life? Because although she's 2 years old, you putting that in the universe. You're putting that in the very nucleus of the atom that revolve around her subconscious time-struct world. Do you hear me?
You also see this with people who have insecurities, or people who are heavily insecure. As a therapist, I often ask them, when you hear these negative thoughts inside of your head, whose voice are you hearing? And the first thought some people say is my own voice. But then when they dig deeper, they kind of flesh out where those voices or those thoughts or those ideas originated. And for the most part, a lot of them originated from their parents. The thoughts of I'm unworthy, I'm worthless, I'm this, I'm that. They think that's them talking, but in reality, it's just a echo chamber of all the negative voices that have been projected onto them throughout the course of their life.
Everything that is said, even you know that it's some shit you do not have to say with your mouth, but you can say it by just your actions and the energy that you give off. And when you touch somebody, you never had nobody touch you when you was a little kid, and you knew if they loved you and you knew if they didn't. You knew when they were giving you a bath and putting on your clothes, it was because they loved you, the way they washed the clothes, the way the clothes felt, the way they smelled, the way they put them on your body, the way they took the dirty clothes off, the way they washed you when you was in the bathtub. And then you knew when a mother washing you up because they didn't want to wash you up. It was some shit they had to do, like it was a chore. You know, they throwing you all around in the bathtub, or they throwing you around and putting your clothes, putting your shoes on, like they can't just wait till this is over. They can't get this done fast enough. And then you know when somebody grown is putting your clothes on because they want to give you a whole. You know what I'm saying? See, it's the unsaid message.
I didn't really like that comment.
That are just more damn deadly and devastating than the messages that come out of a grown woman's mouth or a grown person's mouth when somebody is a child. So you have not only these women doing it that are not related to her, but then you have women that are related to the little girl saying those things about her. And then you have the mama actually talking about the little girl to family members and to men. And I've seen women do this. We got to do another subject.
although I didn't really like that comment about the person putting on your clothes because they're trying to give you some D, I think that's really important. Prior to her saying that, what she did point out is that you can tell, your body tells you. Your body signals to you when you feel safe, when you feel secure, when you feel uncomfortable, when you know something is off. And that's essentially what she's saying in this video. And for a lot of trauma survivors, especially trauma survivors of sexual assault, I have to close out because I have to get another memory card. As I was saying, for a lot of people who have experienced sexual assault or sexual trauma, some people say, I knew something was off. I just couldn't put my finger on it, but my body, my mind was telling me that something was off. And then there's other people who figured, or they identify, I didn't really think anything was off. I thought things were normal, and then it just took a turn. But in both scenarios, as a result of what they've experienced, sometimes people lose trust in themselves, in their judgment, in their bodies, in their intuition, because of the trauma that they experience. On this hand, these individuals are saying, I should have trusted my gut. I regret that I didn't trust my gut, and they feel an immense amount of shame. And then on this hand, same line of reasoning. Why didn't I pick up anything? I should have paid more attention. So they begin to self-blame and ultimately beat themselves up for what they didn't see or couldn't see. So while the way she said it was weird, it's a good point.
The show on this one where women will say things like, well, I'm the only woman in this house, telling their little girls that. And y'all are just children, y'all are little girls. You ain't grown, you ain't running in here, but then they dog out and mistreat the little girl, put the little girl down. Well, this is one very powerful thing about a period. And they try to make a period look ugly and nasty and say that, Eve was cursed with a period. A period isn't a curse because a period is a sign of creation and rejuvenation and stimulation. We could not have a procreation of the nation if a woman don't have a menstrual cycle because she can't get pregnant. And when she loses that egg and that blood every month, there is nourishment, and that's not just waste. There's an unfertilized egg in there. But you got a lot of women that look at their little girls that some of them didn't want, and they get afraid when they see that little girl start developing and blossoming into a woman. See, she's a little girl on one hand, but inside of her womb, she has all the components necessary to make her a grown woman. And when her pineal and her pituitary gland start being activated based on her body cell memory and own programming and timing, she gonna start developing into a little woman, and it scares a lot of women. Do you realize when we get a period, ladies, our body starts to shift, our vibration shifts, and we start giving off a totally different frequency and a totally different smell because the chemistry of our body changes, and a lot of mamas feel threatened by their daughters. A lot of mamas get threatened when their daughters start developing a butt, a breast, and the little girls start bleeding. See, blood, especially on a menstrual level, is a life force. It's a divine and very powerful life force, and a woman is powerful because she has a period.
She brings up a good point, but I also think if we dig deeper, jealousy is the primary emotion. I think fear is the secondary emotion. A mother might be jealous of her daughter, but a mother also might be afraid of what's to come of her daughter butting into a woman and what could happen or may happen as a result of that.
She's not cursed. And that's why so many mothers that are not secure in themselves, that feel threatened, especially she got a man at home she interested in, or she trying to screw young boys, let her daughter come around and the boys start smelling her. Because the old people down here said she's smelling herself, she's smelling her tail. Well, when we get a menstrual and we go through puberty, we do give off a different chemistry and smell, and the boys give off a chemistry and smell, and the boys smell you because your subatomic chemistry and the frequency you're giving out, just like dogs can hear certain sounds and we can't, well, men can pick up a certain scent from a woman, and it's some men that are really in tune with our body and with their body. They know when your period's on, even if you ain't stinking, even if you washed up, because if they on a certain vibration, see, they vibrating on a certain level. So
Is that scientifically proven?
a lot of women got these men in the house that they already know ain't theirs. They already know don't belong to them. They already know that man they with like young women, like young girls. And what they start doing, humiliating their own daughter, degrading the daughter, pulling away from the daughter because she got a period. We're going to talk about the direct, what you say? No, go ahead.
I know this girl that she wound up turning into a lesbian, and she explained to me why. She said her mother had a boyfriend, and the boyfriend her when she was like 14. So she told her mother, and her mother was like, "You're trying to interfere in my relationship," and basically put her out the house. So based on her disgust for that man, she in turn turned to the man. So she is the dominant. She's that in lesbian relationship.
That's actually not uncommon for individuals that have experienced sexual trauma. From what I've seen, some of them unconsciously or subconsciously, both, develop an aversion to the opposite gender. They may feel unsafe when they're alone with them. They may start to stay in the house more often for fear of the men outside. Their libido and sexual desire may decrease significantly because of the trauma that they've experienced, but some of them don't really identify it as that. They just say, well, I just don't really want to, or I don't really enjoy it. And oftentimes they may pursue intimate relationships with the opposite gender. Like, they may think and desire that, but subconsciously they sabotage it for fear that it will eventually lead to them having to engage in sex, and that's not what they want, obviously, because they have trauma associated with that.
But this is a really, like, she just hurt. You understand what I'm saying? And so from such an early age, she turned into the butch, and she's going out.
Is that a slur? I asked my sister and she wouldn't answer directly, so is that a slur?
Out in life of crime, all this stemming from her mother not wanting to uphold and defend her, but want to preserve her relationship with some raggedy old.
I'm gonna be a dominant butch. I'm gonna be a dominant lesbian because I'm gonna control my pussy. I'm gonna protect my. Ain't no man gonna hurt me no more. Ain't no man gonna violate me no more. Since my mama didn't protect me and save me, I'm gonna say protect myself, and ain't no man gonna ever do that. See, a lot of times women think they're completely gay and they not. A lot of times the defense mechanism is pain. It's like, niggas ain't got time for this, ain't dealing with this. And it's mamas that will sacrifice their daughters, and they'll let a man lay up with their daughter and abuse and molest the little girl and turn their back because they want him so bad, and then will hate their own daughter and abuse her and humiliate her, call her a whore.
I guess that's it. Is there a part 3? Let me look. No, I guess that's it. Kind of ended abruptly. I didn't really get closure. But after watching this, my heart is racing. I don't know why. Everything she was talking about, I envisioned when I created this workbook. And there was one part that really stood out to me in relation to her videos, and that's about menstruating. And while I didn't include anything specific about menstruating in the workbook, that's a very pivotal time in a young girl's life in how you are supported throughout that phase is really vital to transitioning from stage 2 within the mother-daughter life cycle to stage 3 within the mother-daughter life cycle, which is addressed in the workbook. But yes, I've never heard somebody curse like ALEXYSS, Ask ALEXYSS has cursed. But her points were there. It's just the clown music and the cursing was rather distracting. I'm obviously going to rewatch it and process it, digest it, really think about it, because that's essentially what the workbook is. Everything she talked about, in spite of the fact that it was very colorful in terms of descriptions and verbiage, that is exactly the population I want to work with. And she really did a great job at summarizing why my work as a marriage and family therapist is important, because people are actively, young Black girls are actively living through that. They're surviving that. And yeah, nobody deserves to live like that. My name is Dasia. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Oh, and also leave a comment down below what your thoughts were on that video.